Listening to Learn Tour, was able to connect with over 1,500 family members, community members in District 25. We had 12 stops, both in person and virtually. Our in-person sites at 214, 185, 129, 184, 20, and 164. I thank all of our building leaders who opened their doors. They made a very welcoming environment for all those, for all of our guests to come in and join. I thank Senator Liu and Councilmember Ung, who joined our visit at PS 20. So I thank them for their continued support for our work as a district. You can see some of our pictures. Some of them, I think I only have one in there with the young man up to the top left, but the parent with that young man from the top left actually came to multiple events. So I have multiple pictures with that young man. What a nice youngster he is. And he actually participated and shared during the last event and talked about how, I believe he was only 6 or 7 years old, how he connected with his peers so that he can come to that event and share himself the things that needed to improve based on their ideas. Yes, thank you very much, Margaret. So he did a great job, and I appreciate him for being there. And as an outgrowth from this Listening to Learn tour, there were a number of things that did come up. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where we are in the process for that in just a few moments. So middle school open house events, there's a QR code there. There is the link to our district site. You can have access to any of those. Please make sure you're connecting with our schools, especially as we're going through the middle school application process. As you guys know, and I shared last time, application window open. It does close on December 8th. Offers will be available in April. So just as an outgrowth, some of the things that did come up both during the Listening to Learn tour and here right at the CEC was one, the success around the special education meeting that you guys kind of fostered as a team that happens every year. So because of that, I did go to Nathan. I said, you know what, that was a big success. Parents also mentioned it during the Listen to Learn tour. So he's added 3 new events during this year that will be available to our families in a virtual space. So understanding your child's IEP, a review of the different sections of the IEP, understanding disability classifications and special education eligibility, and then understanding the Turning 5 process, which is really important for any of our children that are coming into this space as 4-year-olds that very well may need to have some needs that need to be evaluated before they even come into elementary school. So Nathan was gracious enough to offer these 3 events. We'll likely do one earlier in the morning and then one later in the afternoon so that everyone has an opportunity to access each of those. I think it's really, really important that for us as a community, this is something that is clearly important to our community. So we want to make sure that we're offering as much information as we possibly can. So even within the context of these 3 examples, are there other things that you as parents would say, you know what, this would really be helpful for me? I'm not quite sure about this, and we'll work to organize around it. But this was an outgrowth of both the Listening to Learn tour and just the conversation that has happened here at the CEC. Parent support for executive functioning skills. So during the visits, we also heard about the importance around social emotional learning and connecting with our families in relationship to that. We also saw that based on survey data from a survey we gave as a district towards last school year. And as a result, we have 3 specific events that we're going to do in multiple languages. The first one will be at 25Q129. That will be on November 9th. So next week, there will be a session specifically focused on planning and helping our kids organize, get themselves focused. How do they regulate their own behaviors? And we know that for our children that are both in elementary school and middle school, these are things that are certainly important. I know for myself, there are certain times just in terms of that organization space that I need to remind myself as an adult, let alone for our kids that may have a hard time doing that for themselves. So this is going to be led by Esther, Esther, Jenny, and Wing from our team, our social worker, who are going to be connecting with this work in those 3 spaces to make it accessible as possible in each of those languages.
Excuse me, what time?
Yeah. Esther, what time did we say for the executive functioning? Sorry, guys.
5 to 6.
from 5 o'clock to 6.
That's for all of them, or
For
that's
each of the
different?
sessions. The only one that we have the location set for right now is the first one. We'll be updating the site and I'll update you guys here in the next meeting in December with the exact location for the 14th. But yes, that is upcoming. Safety-based training. So one of the spaces that also came up during the Listening to Learn tour was around safety, in particular, the idea around children and not wearing helmets on scooters, on bicycles, also around traffic safety. So because of that, I got in touch with the Department of Transportation, that they run their Vision Zero program. And we are in process right now of organizing events for both parents and students to make sure that we're connected in the space of traffic safety. I'm sure that you guys saw recently, there was a horrible incident that happened in New York City with a youngster that was hit by a vehicle. So, you know, these are things that we do want to make sure that both our children and our parents are consistently aware of. So that is something that we'll be offering coming soon.
That could also talk about like even safety with like drop-offs and pickups.
Yeah, so they do offer that as well. The next state of that conversation is going to be with me and the DOT.
Yeah, 107 is
person,
actually on the
point person.
news. Yeah, I have the link if, you know, you guys are interested.
For Vision Zero.
Yeah,
Or, yeah. So yeah, it's really around making sure that our kids in our communities are fully aware of being mindful of the traffic safety space. So we will continue to do and offer that work. Whoops, I jumped ahead. HMH parent sessions. So the family conferences throughout the year. Remember, we have parent teacher conferences actually tomorrow for our elementary schools. So just inviting our parents, just be mindful that asking around what are the specific needs of my child. It's okay to ask that. You know, are you seeing any strengths or weaknesses in my child's reading skills? How is he or she doing? How can I support my child's reading development at home? Making sure that we're in that constant ebb and flow of communication with our classroom teachers, so that, you know, that we are aware of what it is that we can do for our kids at home. Really super, super important. So also connecting with our parent coordinators. When are we offering those events inside of our buildings? They will be connecting with you guys and making offerings around HMH curriculum. We as a district will be making some offerings available to you just to get a little bit more knowledgeable around what our kids are experiencing in the HMH curriculum itself. So stay tuned for some dates. We're going to be getting on that really soon.
I know one of the things that's come up in SLT at the school that I am is actually those intro. One of the things that's come up recently is the intro letters for each module of HMH. And I don't know if the other schools are sending that home, but our school specifically is sending that home. But they're actually going to be adding that to Dojo as well, since we use Class Dojo. So that the parents are seeing exactly what's happening in every module as they go.
Yeah, love that, certainly from, you know, in general, but certainly from parent perspective of the importance of sharing all of the things that are present and upcoming. The essential questions from these units are pretty catchy for our kids. They seem to be enjoying getting into that space. And, you know, big thanks out to all of our teachers and building leaders for rolling out this space over the last 2 months as we continue to learn through the program. But that is an important part to it, is making sure that our families are aware of what the next steps are. And the biggest one that did come up during the Listening to Learn tour, that was every single one of the tour stops, was around after school programs. Every single tour stop, a parent mentioned that particular space. So we are in process. There's no guarantee that I'm not giving anyone a guarantee, but I have already started conversations with our point people from the Department of Education within context of DYCD to see if there's anything else that we can do for our schools. I will continue to keep you guys posted on that if I make any headway in support of additional programs for that work.
additional free programs or just additional?
So yeah, so that is what my intent is. Whether the reality will be that I can make that happen is a different story, but we've already started the conversations based on these tour visits, and we're gonna work towards seeing what we can do to get something happening there. Like I said, I can't guarantee it, but I wanted you guys to be aware that that did come up, and we're gonna work towards that end for our schools.